Have you ever scrapped a piece of content because it didn't turn out the way you pictured it? Or maybe you've held off on launching something because it didn't feel perfect yet. In today's episode, we're talking about the power of messy action and how one imperfect reel reminded me that done is better than perfect. Hey there, I'm Cassandra, your host and the maker behind Pretty Pineapple Bead, where we turn color, sparkle, and heart into handmade confidence boosters. You're listening to Sparkle and Shine, the podcast where we talk all things small biz, mindset, and messy growth. Today's episode is extra personal because I'm peeling back the curtain on a recent reel I almost didn't post. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't planned, and yet it outperformed my more polished content. We're going to talk about what happened, how perfectionism shows up for me in my business, and what I've learned from taking messy action anyway. All right, the bead soup reel that wasn't perfect. Here's the story. I had this cute idea to film a bead soup mixing video. You know, one of those calming, colorful reels where I pour beads into one of my adorable pineapple-shaped bowls and mix it all up with some fun music in the background. Well, that was the plan anyways. So what actually happened? The bowl filled up way too fast. I had way too many beads and not enough bowl. So I had to pivot. I dumped everything into a plain, boring Amazon box and kept mixing. It was not aesthetically pleasing. It didn't feel on brand. And honestly, I was frustrated. I wanted a cute, colorful video, and now I had a cardboard box full of chaos. But here's the thing. I needed content. I hadn't posted in a bit, and I needed to promote my DIY bead bar because I was bringing it back to my market events. So I said, whatever, let's just try it. So I posted the reel, first as a trial reel, and it started to take off. It got 742 views, 22 likes, and 2 saves. That's better than most of my recent content. When I posted it again to my main feed, it got even more attention. Was it perfect? Not even close. But was it real? Absolutely. And that's what made the difference. Let's reflect and expand on this just a little bit more. This reel reminded me that people aren't always looking for perfection. They want to see you, your realness, your behind the scenes, the human part of your brand. Sometimes the thing you're most embarrassed to post is the thing your audience connects with the most. Let's talk about perfectionism because, wow, she is loud in my business. For me, it shows up in the visuals. If something doesn't feel colorful, bright, fun, and all pretty and polished, I spiral, I stall, and I stop creating altogether. I've delayed product photos, skipped reels, and even ghosted my email list because I didn't feel confident in the visuals. I want every photo to match the vibe, every graphic to pop, every reel to feel magical. But that pressure, it stops me in my tracks, and it almost stopped this podcast. I bought my podcast equipment, set up my social media accounts, created my cover art, and all of that fun stuff back in May of 2024. And then I sat on it for months because my first attempt at recording, it just didn't feel right. I wanted to sound like a seasoned host, but I hadn't even started, so I stalled. And the only reason you're actually listening to episode 8 today is because I finally gave myself permission to just try, to show up, even if my voice cracked or the audio wasn't perfect. And I gotta tell you, I am so glad that I did. Now, let's talk about what actually happens in our minds when perfectionism creeps in, because the inner critic can be brutal. For me, she's a mean girl. My inner critic says things like, your content looks like trash. Your jewelry looks like something you'd find at the bottom of a junk drawer. And nobody wants this. It tells me my brand looks like it's for kids and makes me question why I even bother. It's harsh. But here's the thing. I've learned not to let those thoughts run the show. That voice isn't truth. It's fear, doubt, and pressure disguised as logic. Even when I hear those thoughts, I remind myself, action is still better than silence. Done is better than perfect. And no one gets it right the first time. There are so many times I've shared something that felt awkward or incomplete, like this reel, and it ended up being exactly what connected. Meanwhile, those posts that I agonized over, the ones I spent hours trying to make perfect, they often flop. And the truth is, messy action gets your work out into the world. Perfectionism keeps it hidden. If you're holding back right now because your work doesn't feel ready, let this be your nudge. You do not have to be perfect to be impactful. You don't need a polished strategy to make progress. You just need a little courage and a willingness to show up. Start where you are, share what you have, and learn as you go. Every successful business you admire, they started with messy action. Behind every shiny brand is a mountain of behind-the-scenes chaos, trial and error, and imperfect first drafts. If I had waited to feel ready, sparkle and shine wouldn't exist. Neither would half of my best-selling jewelry pieces. The path to success is paved in awkward launches, late-night editing, and posts you almost deleted. Take the next step anyway. So here's your challenge this week. Pick one thing you've been putting off because it's not perfect. A reel, a post, a new product, a blog, whatever it is, just share it. Tag me in your messy action moment at Sparkle and Shine Podcast on Instagram or Threads. I want to see it, I want to cheer you on, and maybe I'll even share a few in next week's episode. Let's normalize growth over perfection. Let's build a community of business owners who aren't afraid to get a little messy on their way to something magical. Well, that's it for today's episode. If this gave you the nudge you needed, would you do me a favor? Share it with your biz bestie, leave a rating or review, or send me a DM to let me know what messy action you're taking this week. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. Until next time, keep showing up, keep dreaming big, and keep sparkling.